Parent Entrepreneur Power, conversation number 146.
Parent Entrepreneur Power.
Wait, what? Entrepreneur Power!
This is the podcast for parents juggling the tough choices required for success in business while putting family first. Hi, I'm Mary Catherine Johnson, and I share the ups and downs and dirty truths of profits and potty training while chatting with successful parent entrepreneurs from all walks of life. Are you powered up? Hey there, Power Parents, and welcome to another conversation. I can't wait to have this one with you because it's a little bit special. It's a little bit different. And of course, my life and my business and my podcast mirrors what's happening and going on around me. So here we go. This is an open letter to my son and all new voters in 2016. Now, to all of you who fit that description, I know you've been listening on the fringes of the election and the news for the past year, and you might be a bit confused. Now, I'm not here to explain things to you. It's your job to understand things for yourself now that you're considered legal adults and of voting age. I am here to welcome you to the ride of your life. All right, don't worry, fellow parent entrepreneurs, this is for you too. So just hang on to the ride as well. You're already in the ride, right? You know what it's like. We're going to add to it. So as a new voter or a new parent entrepreneur, whether you consider your life on this planet thus far to have been easy or difficult or uneventful, every year you have left to live will be very different. Now let's start with your power and influence in the country in which you live. If you live in the United States, you are facing your first of many opportunities to influence the world beyond your front door. This influence is greater than any you have faced. It's greater than your friends and your ability to impact those around you personally. It's greater than your job, either as part of a small or a large organization doing either specific work in a community or in the world. It's greater than your church or religious group and the work you have done to improve the lives of others through that group. And it's greater than your extracurricular group like sports, music, drama, or art, and your ability to influence the world through producing something greater than yourself with the help of that group. You can now influence the lives of people on the other side of this amazing country, and I really don't know if you understand the impact of your power. You may be quite disgusted by everything you've seen and heard on social media and in the news. I am too. You may have friends who are adamant about their choice of candidate, and they might get angry if you don't agree with them. Well, my fellow parent entrepreneurs, you have people doing the same who think you are an idiot to start your own business, right? Yeah, let's talk to the new voters, shall we? Now, I would caution you to not discuss your political opinions with those friends or those people or anyone who doesn't love and accept you unconditionally. Because there are three things, people, you never talk about in public: politics, religion, and of course, the Great Pumpkin. If you're lucky, that only leaves you a handful of people with whom you might feel comfortable discussing your thoughts and opinions, but that's okay. Ultimately, those are probably the same people who will be there for all the big decisions in your life. And just like every other momentous decision, you should gather your own facts from your own resources, weigh the positives and the negatives, and make your own decision from your own heart, mind, and current priorities. Your heart won't change as you grow in age, but your mind and your current priorities most certainly will. Please look at the candidates in any election as individuals, not as members of a particular political party. The candidates most certainly will be influenced by the party whose platform they choose to represent, but they are still individual human beings. Now, you most certainly will hear talk about popular vote versus electoral college. And you'll probably be confused and angry if your candidate wins the popular vote but does not win the election. History shows us that this has happened before. Remember that history class you and your friends took in school but didn't really care about because it didn't pertain to you and it was boring? Well, everybody except your friend Brian. I mean, he loves studying history, so it wasn't boring to Brian. But I'm sorry to say, it's time to study a bit of history. Not here, I'm not your history teacher, but do a quick Google search on the Electoral College and make an intelligent decision as to which link is a viable educational link to follow. Then do a little reading for about an hour instead of playing on your DS or watching an on-demand program or two. Believe me, this is important. So those things will be waiting for you when the election is over. You're lucky. That's why they are considered, quote, on demand. Right now, your future and the future of everyone else living and soon to be living in our country is, quote, on demand. So please switch that shrinking attention span to this decision right now and put aside the fun for just a few minutes. I beg of you. Okay, now back to this popular vote versus electoral college. Just like almost everything else in life, including parent entrepreneurship, there are rules and laws that don't follow common sense. Those who came before, namely those considered our founding fathers, didn't believe the, quote, common man had enough intelligence to actually elect by popular vote the President of the United States. So they created the Electoral College. So when you vote for a candidate in a general presidential election, you're actually voting for the electors designated for that candidate. With the exception of Maine, the state of Maine, and Nebraska, the candidate who gets the majority of the vote in your state gets all the electors from that state. So the person who becomes president does not do so by popular vote, but by the majority of the electoral vote, namely 270 as a minimum or more votes. Either way, your vote matters, even if it doesn't seem to count. So, how do you choose when neither candidate seems to represent everything you hold dear and most important in your life? Okay, here are 3 ways you make that choice. Number 1, you create your list of current priorities and value. Get very specific, please. What are your priorities? Number 2, start comparing each candidate's current and past decisions and their life to that list. Number 3, the one who most closely matches your views on your top priorities in your life right now wins your vote. This is why we usually vote very differently as we grow and age. Your priorities now are dependent on your current situation, right? Most Americans vote based on what impacts them personally and financially. That's why as we grow and change, our voting typically changes. Believe me, my voting when I was in college, when I first voted, is very different than my voting now. I have a lot more at stake. I have a lot more to lose. I have children. I have a home. I have a lifestyle that I have worked very hard to build. So if a candidate threatens any of those 3 things, they're going to have a hard time getting my vote. If you don't have any of those things, and there are not very many things that any candidate can threaten for you, or if a particular candidate really boosts the things that are most important or that you most want in your life, that's where you're going to put your vote. That's just the way we are. That's human nature. So, what are your priorities? Which candidate most closely matches you? And that last statement is the hardest to answer right now because at least 85% of Americans don't like either of the majority party candidate. So we hold our noses when we vote because even the one we vote for stinks like a skunk. I'm sorry to say, it just does. You'll find yourself doing this many times in your life, making a decision that is very uncomfortable. And I'm here to tell you right now, not making a decision or opting out is the most uncomfortable of all in the long run. Because it means you're not living. You're not alive and active and growing and learning. Even if you make the quote wrong decision, as judged after the fact by you or anyone else, you are more alive, more ahead of the game than someone who didn't even care to decide, and in doing so, allowed someone else to make the decision for them. You will make the best choice possible with the most information and input available to you, and that makes you incredibly, amazingly wonderful. You don't just listen to your friends or the news or some celebrity or the sound bites presented to you about the candidates. You take the time and energy to learn and investigate for yourself. That is all I or anyone else can ask you to do. It's hard. It's sometimes alienating. It's almost every time incredibly frustrating. This will show you who your true friends really are, and it will show you the character of those around you. The people who put you down or try to shame you based on your personal decisions and choices are showing you their true colors. They're showing you their true character and their true fears. And if you do that too, then your character will be revealed as well. Yet, for all the negatives I just outlined and the untold number of negatives I haven't even shared, I wouldn't seek any other citizenship in the world. If you choose to share your views in public on any of these 3 forbidden topics, remember, politics, religion, or the Great Pumpkin, there will most certainly be people who try to belittle, shame, or torment you with their words. Our laws, however, do not allow them to physically harm you for any reason, let alone for sharing your views. Remember the saying, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Yeah, only those whose opinions matter to you can actually hurt you with their words. Please, please choose those people in your life very wisely. You will face these difficult, uncomfortable situations many times in the coming years that you actually get to live. You'll need to ask yourself, who will I trust with my finances or my child? Where and with whom will I choose to live? Where will I purchase my food? And is that food actually safe and healthy? Which is more secure for me, working for someone else or building my own company? So, I have one question for you. Are you ready? Are you ready to make a choice? For a great link on the Electoral College, visit the show notes page, parententrepreneurssuccess.com/PEP146. Or just visit the show notes to leave me a comment on how you really feel about the election.